What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel here with Guitar Control, and today we're going to learn about just riffing out. Whether you're on an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, whatever, we're just going to talk about some interesting kind of techniques and tips you can use to just make really cool sounding riffs. So make sure you click the link below because we're going to tab out what we're doing here. Eventually, it's going to be about using your own creativity and kind of building these exercises into your playing. And I think one great way to think about riff building, and first, before we even get into that, like what makes a good riff? What is a riff anyways? A riff is really just, in my opinion, a collection of single notes that kind of come together to make a phrase that you can repeat and make it sound really cool, okay? One riff that I really like sounds like this. Okay, something like that, right? We have just these kind of different notes on just a couple of the lower strings. Usually using the lower strings of a guitar will make the riff sound heavier. But what we're going to do is we're going to do stuff in E minor. All the great rock riffs are written in E minor, all right? And this is one of the reasons that this is true is because of the low E string being open and then going back and forth between notes in the E minor scale on the A string, okay? So what I mean by that is, first of all, we need to know the notes in the E minor scale because usually minor scale riffs are the sound of rock and roll, whether it's E minor, whether it's A minor, C sharp minor for those really, really crazy guys. But basically, the notes in E minor are E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and D, okay? So you can learn it all on the low E string, and we end up with this. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So if we said the notes, the fret markers, open, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, okay? Now, you can really riff by maybe just throwing some of these notes in there. In fact, the first tab in the linked resource below is really just the E string. One cool thing that you could do is maybe just put notes in between, like a droning type open E sound. In fact, a lot of different things can be played just using open E and then just some of these notes, right? So really, I think the first step is to just learn the scale on one string. Open, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. Now, that really sounds great, and really just kind of use your creativity and get going on that. But what I think really makes a cool sound, especially on, guitar, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, whatever, is using the open A string as a drone between notes in its scale on the A string, okay? So now a scale doesn't have to start with the root note. In the case of the low E string, it does. Open, 2, 3, we have E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then you can kind of keep going if you want. But knowing those notes on the A string is also super important, okay? So playing those same notes, but starting on A, you'd get A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. So now it's the same notes, but the frets are going to be a little bit different. Now it's open, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12. Okay? Now it really sounds cool with that open E in between. So the next thing we're going to do is, instead of just playing this as its own scale, right, we're going to put that open E in between every one. So E, A, E, B, E, C, E, D, E, octave E, E, F sharp, E, G, E, A. Okay, so even just playing through those, really, it shouldn't ever sound super musical whenever you just play a scale in order, but just by inserting that low E string in between those notes, I think it starts to sound like music. And really, we're doing something very non-musical, something that's just like, really kind of like arbitrarily educational. But because we have that E in between, it's kind of creating like a tonal center that we're riffing off of, okay? So really, I urge you to learn these notes on just the E and the A string, find out where those notes are, and then just start riffing out, okay? One thing we can do, we can just maybe concentrate, instead of doing the whole string, maybe just concentrate on the first couple notes, like open A, the B on the A string, the C and the D. So open, 2, 3, 5, and then put that open E in between. And then kind of just like changing the order like we just did right there. Another thing you could do is maybe add certain times you play each note, like maybe 2 times on the E string. The next thing we can do is we can slide into notes. So now it's really kind of starting to sound like music, in my opinion, right? So this is a great way to start just maybe taking segments of them. Really learn the names of the notes because it's going to help you out in the long run. And even though it's like, okay, A, B, C, D. If that's all you learn from this lesson is just open 2, 3, 5 on the A string is A, B, C, D. Just the first letters of the alphabet, right? Putting those in between that E. Maybe add hammer-ons. Is a great way to start branching through the fretboard. And again, it's super helpful for your playing, just being able to diagnose where notes are. You really never know how they're going to come in handy, specifically in riff writing, just maybe like adding something different, right? So now that we have those first 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm just kind of changing the order and then hitting 2 E's in between. And then you can start combining them too to make something even heavier sounding, like if you're going into a different part of the song. Then after that, we can maybe learn some of the higher notes, right? So we have right here, this is the octave E, that riff that I played at the beginning. It's a great classic song. Shout out to anybody who can name that one. And really, that kind of goes throughout each string. But let's actually take the D, the E, the F sharp, G, and A. So if we take the last 4 notes, E, F sharp, G, A. In fact, that's going to be the next thing in the tab. It's going to be 2 E's, 7A, 9A, 10A. Maybe do that one twice. That's where I'm just randomly choosing how many times I want to play that open E in between them. Maybe 2 times. 1. And again, it's a really easy way to kind of just mindlessly create cool sounding stuff. I really like the sound of open, droning. I guess I don't even know if you want to call that a drone because I am kind of like maybe silencing it a little bit more. I think the term drone is more accurate for like if you're like because then you have that E just kind of ringing out more. However you want to look at it. But really, learn those notes. Open 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A on the A string. On the E string, it's open 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. Okay? Any of those notes are going to sound great together in any combination. You can start putting them together. However you want. I just think it's a really cool way to maybe approach a different style of playing. Maybe if you've never really tried making up your own riffs, this is the foolproof way. Anything that you do is really going to sound pretty cool because you're just using notes from the E minor scale. E minor is the sound of rock and roll. So don't be afraid to experiment. Just take some of the resources that we've provided below, and I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. So let us know what you think of this lesson, what you'd like to see more of, and then check out other videos on the Guitar Control channel by myself and other great instructors. Thanks so much.